All right. Hey guys, what's going on? Katie Day with the MOVEMETOTX team at Coldwell Banker. Wanted to go live to talk about a Facebook post that I had seen earlier this week from Suze Orman on Facebook. So I'm friends with a bunch of real estate agents all over Facebook. And basically, Suze Orman, the financial advisor, basically posted a post that said, let me actually share it. Hold on. She posted a post that said, I would absolutely wait until the end of the year, September, October, November of this year, before she would even consider buying a home. One concern is property values. Many people will have to make up their missed mortgage payments around the time that federal unemployment is scheduled to stop on July 31st. This puts them in a difficult financial position, especially if they're still out of work. It's not impossible that your neighbors might have to foreclose on their home. She then says, here's the problem. Let's say you paid $300K for your home today, and your neighbor is out of work due to the coronavirus and they can't afford to make their home payments. They then get foreclosed on. Do you know what that just did to your property value of the home that you just bought? She's saying that your property is now worth $150K, because when someone goes to check the latest comps, they're going to see that the house next door sold for $150K. So the house on the block sold for $150K. There goes the price of real estate. And that's exactly what happened in 2007 and 2008. So our goal is to always provide you with the facts and information about the market so that you can review those and then determine what makes the most sense for you and your family and your financial goals. At the end of the day, there are a lot of reasons why this premise is wrong. So if you are out there and you'd like to listen, I'm going to provide you with some facts as to what's going on in the real estate market right now. So Suze's post is basically around forbearance and the fact that if people have to make up payments and that if they're still out of work, then it may cause them to go into foreclosure. So I'd like to remind you that forbearance was designed to help people weather the storm financially, something that didn't really exist in 2008. A response by the federal government to basically help avoid a housing collapse. So first, the CARES Act basically states that if you have federally based or federally backed loans, so that's FHA, VA, and USDA, or a GSE-backed mortgage, that's Fannie or Freddie, that your lender or loan servicer may not foreclose on you till at least August 31st, 2020. Specifically, the CARES Act basically states this, that they can't have lenders or servicers begin a foreclosure process or finalize a foreclosure judgment or sale. This protection began on March 18th, 2020 and extends through at least August 31st, 2020. Okay. Second, if you experience financial hardship due to the coronavirus pandemic, you have a right to request and obtain a forbearance for up to 180 days. You also have the right to request and obtain an extension for up to an additional 180 days for a total of up to 360 days. So 360 days, that's almost a year, basically you're 5 days short of a year. If you don't have a federally or GSE-backed mortgage, you may still have relief options through your mortgage loan servicer or from your state. So basically to recap, legislation passed through the CARES Act may allow for forbearance for up to 360 days. Banks and the government, they basically want to prevent foreclosures as much as possible. So even if we do start to see them, it probably wouldn't be for at least 18 months. Just something to think about, so borrowers have 180 days. Foreclosures wouldn't start immediately. So, if we started to see an influx of foreclosures, it probably wouldn't be at the end of this year, just based on the facts that stand today. All right. So another thing to touch on is that of all of the active, actually, let me flip back. So the second part of her statement is basically, she says, let's say you paid $300,000 for your home today, and homes around you are foreclosed on and then sell for $150,000. Your home is now worth $150,000. So even if someone is in financial hardship, we know based on a Black Knight study that of all active forbearances, which are past due on their mortgage payment, 77% have at least 20% equity in their home. So you see over here, the 59% have at least 30% equity, and then 18% have 20 to 30% equity in their home. Okay. So think about this logically. If you have a house that's worth $400,000, say, and you have 20% equity, that's $80,000. So if realistically you were unable to make your mortgage payments or any more payments on your home, realistically, you would probably sell your home before you go into foreclosure. Black Knight basically summarizes it pretty well by saying the high level of equity provides options for homeowners and also policymakers, mortgage investors, and servicers in helping to avoid downstream foreclosure activity and default-related losses. The final statement of Suze's post, going back up to the top, basically says that this is exactly what happened. There goes the price of real estate, and that's exactly what happened in 2007 and 2008. I've done a lot of videos as to why, this isn't 2007, this isn't 2008. I think one of the biggest things to point out today is the equity position of homeowners today. 58.7% of all homes in America have at least 60% of equity, 60. Of those, 42.1% of homes are owned free and clear. Homeowners are sitting on a tremendous amount of equity. The average amount of equity, according to CoreLogic, is $177,000 in mortgaged homes, right? So people have a lot of money in their homes. And as I stated before, that gives you options if you are unable to make your payments, if you've done forbearance and you still don't have the means to be able to pay your mortgage, you have options other than getting foreclosed on. The other thing that I wanted to point out is the difference between 05, 06, 07 leading up to 2008 and then now. One of the things that led to, the issues back then were that people were taking money out of their homes like it was an ATM, right? If you look at the total home equity cashed out, the refis in billions of dollars, back in 05, 06, and 07, it was $824 billion. Now in 17, 18, and 19 on an annualized basis, it was $232 billion. So what we're seeing over the past 3 years versus what we're seeing basically back then are two completely different things. People aren't doing that. They have lots of equity in their home. They're not cashing it out. So it's a far different market than it was back then. I can also dig into, mortgage credit availability and how it's harder to get a loan in 2020 or 2019 than it was back in 04, 05, 06. And something to think about with that as well is that in coronavirus, lenders have tightened up and investors have tightened up their requirements for loans, not only credit scores, debt to income ratios, things like that, but also re-verifying all of, people's employment, credit, things like that. So all in all, just wanted to share this with you. I saw this post floating around, the internet, the interwebs over the past week. It came out, I think, on Sunday. I think the biggest thing that I want to say is if you think that you might be, if you're considering buying, if you're considering selling or investing right now, or even in the future, I implore you to do your research, talk to a full-time real estate professional that can help you to determine if buying or selling makes sense for you. I think that it's important to understand what your financial goals are. And obviously, if you have any questions about the real estate market here in the Houston area, feel free to shoot us a DM, give me a call, shoot me a text. I'll put my info in the post below. If you have any thoughts on Suze Orman's post, please feel free to share them with me. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to have some conversation around this, but hope you guys are safe. Hope you are well, and I'll chat with you soon. Have a great day.